I, 26M, have decided to block my best friend 24F of 4 years. I am a 26-year-old male who recently blocked my close friend, a 24-year-old female, with whom I had a relationship for about 4 years. Although we have technically known each other for a little over a decade, we began to form a close bond in 2021. We have never met in person since we reside on opposite sides of the United States, but we have effectively navigated a long-distance relationship, even though it was not formally defined as such. We both confessed to having feelings for each other and became comfortable expressing sentiments such as, "I love you," on a regular basis. She would become extremely jealous if I did or said anything that seemed to indicate I was interested in another woman, yet she never agreed to commit to me. Over the past 3 years, I asked her numerous times about pursuing a more serious relationship, and she consistently provided different reasons for why we couldn't be more than friends. In order, the justifications I received were: 1. My father wouldn't allow me to date a man without his permission. She stated this after we first revealed our feelings to each other. She was the first to confess. After we recognized that we cared for one another beyond friendship, I suggested updating our social media statuses to "in a relationship." My reasoning was that we could not progress toward visiting each other across the country until we made our feelings official to our families. I didn't know her well at that point, but her insistence that I ask her father's permission before changing our relationship status perplexed me, especially considering she was 20 and had a full-time job. Adults typically do not seek permission from their parents just to date. That is generally required for marriage. Furthermore, her father did not strike me as the overly strict type. Nevertheless, I called her bluff and offered to message her father on Facebook to ask for his permission. This led to her second excuse. 2. I'm not prepared to date. This explanation made more sense at the time, as she was struggling with various emotional issues. However, I was unsettled by the indefinite nature of her statement. For about a year, she insisted that she needed to resolve some mental health concerns before she would be ready to date. We continued to operate as friends while, in some respects, behaving as if we were more than friends. One day, when I pressed her about this, she admitted that she might not be ready until she is about 30 and asked, "You wouldn't wait for me?" I was incredulous and responded, "No, I would not wait 7 years for you to possibly decide you are ready to date me." She replied that there was probably no future between us then, and we ceased communication for about 2 months. To make matters significantly worse, about a month after we stopped talking, she entered into a relationship with another man. Most of her social media profiles featured photos of them together. I felt betrayed and disgusted. I chose to block her on all social media to avoid activating feelings of jealousy. A month later, after she had been dating this guy, she unexpectedly texted me saying, "Hey, it's okay, he is gone now, and we can be friends again." Despite the fact that her relationship had nothing to do with the reasons I initially stopped communicating with her, I will admit that I missed her immensely and had felt lonely during the previous 2 months. She claimed that this relationship was arranged by a mutual friend and that she had never developed feelings for him and was looking to end it. She also mentioned that her experience made her realize how much she cared about me, stating that I wouldn't have to wait until she turned 30 for things to progress. I won't delve into great detail, but I genuinely felt sympathy for how she treated the man she was seeing. He was kind and caring, and she prolonged the breakup much longer than necessary while secretly communicating with me. After their separation, her predictable third excuse was, 3. I want to take some time before entering into another relationship. I anticipated that she would not want to immediately pursue a relationship with me, as that would make her appear as if she had cheated on him. I asked her when she believed she would be ready, and she replied, probably in about 6 months. I resolved to remain a supportive friend until she was ready. However, she then began experiencing a phantom illness where she claimed to feel nauseated all the time. This was not the first instance of her showing hypochondriac tendencies, so I was skeptical right from the start. After several visits to the doctor that yielded nothing but medication to alleviate her nausea, she remained undiagnosed. She told me that her family believed she was being dramatic or seeking attention, which I agreed with, but she insisted that she was not fabricating her symptoms. For several months, I basically ended up saying, "I'm really sorry." just lie down and it will pass, as I had limited advice to offer. One day, she thanked me for being so supportive during her nausea ordeal and expressed, 4. I was willing to commit to you until I started experiencing all this nausea. This became her ongoing excuse for the next 3 to 4 months. However, I saved a screenshot of her message, and when the day came that she said she believed she was finally feeling better, having gone over a week without nausea, I celebrated with her and shared the screenshot of her previous declaration that she was ready, along with a side-eye emoji. She merely typed, laughing my ass off, and pretended it was a joke. When I pressed her about it, saying she should be ready now that she claimed to be better, she offered her next excuse. 5. I am not spiritually where I need to be to date. We share the same faith. She said she would pray about it and wait to see what God indicated. I despised this response because I suspected she was using God as a convenient excuse for her commitment issues. Only about a month of this passed, and I again inquired, stating that she couldn't simply wait for a sign from God like in the Old Testament. She then gave what would become her final excuse that I can recall. 6. I don't know if I can handle long-distance dating. Essentially, she claimed that while she had feelings, she could not be sure she wanted to officially date until she got to know me in person. This explanation troubled me, as I explained that the only way I could visit her and vice versa was if we were officially dating, emphasizing that long-distance relationships aren't particularly unusual today. However, commitment needs to be established before undertaking such visits from that distance. I couldn't fly across the country just to visit a female friend. She acknowledged my reasoning, but proposed no alternative solutions or compromises, appearing content with remaining friends indefinitely. Finally, a few days ago, I received the following message from her: "You are going to dislike me for this, but after much consideration, I believe we are better off as friends. I have never lied to you about my feelings, even though I realize you may have found it hard to believe. There is no one else. I'm not pursuing anyone or anything right now. I'm not particularly keen on the idea of long distance, and I also feel that I am not where I need to be spiritually. I truly value our friendship, and you have become one of the best friends I have ever had. I think you deserve better than to wait around for something that may never happen. You do not need to reply, and I won't reach out again unless you do. Please take all the time you require to process and decide what you want moving forward. Once again, I really value our friendship and would love to continue being friends, but I completely understand if that is not what you want or if you are unable to. I'm always here for you, regardless of your decision." Upon reading this, I immediately resolved that I was finished. I blocked her on all social platforms, removed her siblings from my friend list, which was difficult because we had become close friends, and did not respond to her message. It has been a little over a week, and I have struggled to find the motivation to do anything outside of work. My logic is this: if I remain friends with her, I will never be able to move on. If I ever hope to find love, I need to eliminate her from my life. I will admit that I harbor an immense amount of resentment towards her for how she has navigated things over the past 3 to 4 years, and I feel even more embarrassed that I lacked the willpower to move past this until now, as the signs that she was stringing me along were glaringly obvious. With that said, she frequently became upset with me for expecting more than friendship. She would often say things like, "Do you not care about me enough to just be friends?" And, "I do not understand why being official is so crucial to you." I always felt as though she was gaslighting me when she made statements like that, but I wanted to provide a summary of our experiences together to see what others think. I consider myself thick-skinned, so please feel free to share your thoughts openly. Story 2. My partner came out to me as trans femme, and I don't understand why I'm so upset and scared. How do I clarify my feelings and figure out what to do next in the relationship? My partner, a 23-year-old cisgender woman, recently informed me that she wishes to start using she/her pronouns and fully transition to living as a woman. We have been together for over 2 years, and she has identified as non-binary for as long as I have known her. She used he/they when we met, then shifted to they/them while dating, and briefly experimented with they/she before reverting to they/them when she began hormone replacement therapy. She has gradually explored her femininity and started hormone replacement therapy a year ago, which has significantly improved her happiness and confidence. Much of what I am feeling now resembles my emotions when my partner first began hormone replacement therapy. I was extremely worried that our relationship dynamics would change and that my attraction might shift or diminish, but fortunately, our experiences in the bedroom remained relatively consistent, and I adapted. More on that later. When she was first coming out as non-binary, back when we were just friends, I was the one who assisted her in developing her fashion sense, grooming her eyebrows, styling her hair, and teaching her makeup. However, now that we are in a relationship, and she has come out as transfeminine, it feels as though the ground has shifted beneath me. Almost all the challenges we have encountered in the past were items we could resolve and adjust to, and I deeply appreciate how well we communicate and how compatible we are. Nonetheless, this situation feels overwhelming because I cannot articulate what I am experiencing or why I feel such fear. I have close friends who identify as trans and queer, and I have navigated my own gender and sexuality in the past, but my partner's transformation feels drastically different and intimidating compared to how I felt when my best friend came out as female to male. I genuinely love who my partner is now, and I am concerned that the qualities I cherish about her may fade over time with further hormone replacement therapy and her complete social transition. I believe much of the difficulty I am experiencing stems from my own sexuality and the uncertainty surrounding it. To summarize, I have identified as queer or bisexual for quite some time, but I have struggled to define my attractions and feel comfortable with my identity. Due to some past trauma, I spent a significant amount of time being hypersexual without actually feeling romantic or physical attraction to anyone, regardless of gender, leading to several crises in my life where I questioned whether I was asexual or aromantic, or simply incapable of love. That said, I have generally found myself attracted to masculine individuals, primarily dating men, with a few non-binary people, masculine lesbians, or trans men occasionally in the mix. However, all my long-term relationships prior to this have been with straight cisgender men, and I sometimes wonder if I am merely a Haspian. Could I be a straight woman who is incredibly indecisive and disconnected from her emotions? This thought has been challenging to grapple with, especially since nearly all my friends are queer, and I have tended to shove that concern aside for later consideration. What has primarily assisted me in reconciling my own identity and feeling secure in my sexuality is the understanding that love is not an overwhelming emotion like it appears in films. Rather, it resembles a choice and a commitment that one makes each day. I believe the reason my partner and I have functioned so well together is that we were best friends for a year before becoming romantically involved, allowing us to develop a strong connection prior to anything intimate occurring. Even so, during our first encounter, I experienced a crisis and questioned whether I had made a huge mistake as my attraction to her seemed to vanish overnight. I have discussed this with a therapist previously who attributed it to anxiety and attachment issues, but I am unsure if that fully encompasses my experience. I also discovered that, when I felt anxious about possibly no longer being attracted to my partner, my libido and attraction issues were nearly resolved when I temporarily stopped taking all my medications for a few weeks. I am aware that abruptly discontinuing psychiatric medication is dangerous. Please do not replicate my experience. I apologize for the excessive focus on myself, but I feel this context is essential to understanding the challenges I am facing. I have never really envisioned myself in a long-term relationship with a woman. Before this, we had been having serious discussions about getting engaged, building a life together, and starting a family. I understand that this may sound trivial and very heteronormative, but I enjoy being the feminine partner with my partner assuming a more masculine role. I appreciate being the small spoon and having someone larger, stronger, and more balanced to take on the leading role. It's such a complex situation that I struggle to articulate in a way that does not come off as silly or childish. It seems unreasonable to break up merely because I desire to be the only person wearing a white dress at my wedding. While browsing trans-focused forums, I noticed numerous individuals who successfully adapted to being in relationships with partners they had not initially conceived of being with. However, I have also encountered many who assert that one cannot merely change their sexuality at will, even if they genuinely wish to. A significant concern regarding my partner's transition is how it will alter our relationship dynamic and our sexual life. I have generally adopted a submissive role in that aspect and have no interest in taking on a dominant role. This has been an ongoing challenge as my partner has always identified as a bottom. Early in our relationship, this sexual incompatibility nearly led to its end. Our solution has been for me to take the lead, pretending to enjoy it so my partner can find fulfillment, while occasionally asking for her to take charge in return, which she will only agree to after considerable persuasion. Nevertheless, my partner is less inclined to reciprocate for me, and while I do not believe it's selfish to feel less enthusiastic about domination or to be insecure about my abilities in that regard, it occasionally frustrates me that she is resistant to making minor sacrifices to achieve a more balanced arrangement. This situation has significantly improved over time, and my partner has become more receptive since I communicated how crucial an even exchange of effort is to my happiness, for which I am grateful, but the balance is still lacking. Additionally, there are particular kinks she has developed a strong interest in since her transition that I have no desire to explore, yet I do my best to feign interest so she can indulge in what she desires. Fortunately, I have become more comfortable in a dominant role and occasionally find enjoyment in it, but I worry this might not be sustainable long-term and that this issue could worsen as a result of her transition and personality changes. I do not want resentment to fester. How do I establish a solution that benefits us both in the long run? Some friends have suggested we consider polyamory as a potential solution, but I am uncertain if I am comfortable with that idea. I'm hoping someone can provide advice that helps me clarify my thoughts. I feel guilty for grieving and for not fully wanting her to change, and I have been unable to eat or sleep this week due to overwhelming anxiety. It reached a point where I took a couple of days off work to simply lie in bed. Why can't I support her as I have for many other trans friends? She has been incredibly supportive, engaging in deep conversations about my feelings, and has been great at helping me cope. She stayed on the phone with me until 6 a.m. last night when I was in distress, but I feel like I cannot share the entirety of my emotions with her because I struggle to articulate these ambiguous feelings. She is the love of my life, and I still envision a future with her, but I am frightened that I have wasted 2 years with someone who inevitably may not be compatible with me. I do not want to lose my best friend, yet I do not want to hinder her from pursuing what she needs. How do I navigate these emotions and create a plan moving forward? Story 3. My girlfriend, 20F, slept with another guy after we started dating, and I, 20M, just found out about it. I don't know what to do. In early June 2024, I met a girl through a dating application. We were both 19 at the time, and our first date was incredible. We felt an immediate spark and connection. I went on vacation, so our second date did not occur until early July, nearly a month later. However, we communicated daily from our first date until the second. I had to vacation again, this time for almost a month, which made our third date, the one where we finally had sex, take place very early in August when I returned. By that third date, we had developed a special bond, and we continued going on dates pretty much every week of August. Midway through the month, one night in the car, she asked if I would consider making her my girlfriend and establishing a formal relationship. I regrettably said no because I was about to leave for college. I am American, and she is European but is doing a gap year here in America, and I wasn't sure it would work out. She appeared unhappy, and the ride home felt somber. The next day, I reconsidered and sent her a message saying I wanted to be exclusive. She responded by saying not to worry, as she realized her request was unreasonable and that we likely would not last anyway. I brushed it off because she hadn't completely rejected my offer, leading me to believe she was still on board. We went on one more date before she left for a week-long all-girls vacation. Our texting remained affectionate daily, calling each other terms of endearment as usual. Towards the end of her trip, one day she failed to reply for an entire day, and when she finally did, her messages lacked the usual affection, terms of endearment, and warmth. She sounded cold and distant, and after some conversation, she informed me she had been very intoxicated the previous night at a random guy's Airbnb with her friends and had unexplained bruises on her legs. It was painfully apparent to me that she had slept with someone else. This revelation shattered my world, causing me to cry extensively over the following days and feel deeply betrayed. After she returned from vacation, we had one last date before my move back to college, during which I decided to confront her for the truth. She insisted nothing happened and questioned how I could accuse her. However, I had evidence from her changing location on the dating application, and she admitted to that fact, though she denied having sex. She stated that since we were not exclusive, she was free to do what she wished, as was I. She claimed she met no one while on the island, and that she only changed her location to see what was nearby. This contradicted her earlier assertion in August, where she indicated she had stopped using the dating app because she felt things were getting serious between us and that she genuinely liked me. We revisited the exclusive conversation, but I declined since I was moving to college. We agreed to stay in touch and she would visit me. We maintained contact, fell more in love, and visited each other during my semester, resulting in a deep bond. At some point in October, we agreed to be exclusive. Our relationship became one that functioned like a traditional relationship but lacked a defined label. We had been exclusive since October, acting as a couple despite the absence of an official title. It's a situationship, a term I dislike as it sounds trivial. This situation exists due to my indecision. She has asked numerous times to formalize our relationship. I have hesitated because of personal family issues that I have been navigating, though I have communicated this to her. She, however, does not grasp the seriousness of my circumstances. Importantly, I have never kept my options open. Before our discussions of exclusivity, I sensed things were becoming serious in early August and had already stopped communicating with other girls since then. Jumping ahead 4 months from August to January now, the incident from that night came up again during a conversation. I pressed her for clarity and made her swear nothing had happened that night, but she could not provide that assurance as she had in the past for other matters. This realization indicated to me that she had been dishonest all along. Eventually, she admitted that she had slept with a guy that night. She concealed this information from me for 4 months, and I suspect she never intended to confess. I learned of the truth only after pressing her, not because she wanted to reveal it. This was a significant betrayal that hurt deeply, leading me to feel as though she had cheated on me. Even if others might argue she didn't cheat by their standards, she still lied to me on multiple occasions in the past 4 months. We had briefly discussed that incident several times in our relationship, and every time she insisted nothing occurred that night. Even on the 2 days post-vacation when I confronted her, she lied, saying nothing had happened. She claimed her reason for deceiving me was that she feared I would be hurt and angry if I found out, which would lead to an end of our relationship, a scenario she wanted to avoid. What we developed over the past 4 months is genuinely special, not to mention the 3 months we shared over the summer. I have become inseparable from this woman. We talked about marriage, raising children, and being lifelong partners. I already broke up with her and have not communicated for nearly a week, but she has shown considerable remorse and regret for her actions, particularly for the dishonesty. I have read many similar stories on Reddit, where most people advise ending a relationship with someone who would lie about such matters. Many consider it cheating since the nuances of exclusivity do not matter when a relationship has grown serious with shared dates over several months. Since our commitment to exclusivity, she has shown me no overt signs of infidelity, but she has engaged in some questionable behavior, such as keeping her dating app active and claiming she only uses it to find friends in the area due to her new location. Additionally, she entertains men who contact her on social media for casual encounters, neither agreeing nor disagreeing, continuing superficial conversations about the city and local activities since she is unfamiliar with the area. While these actions do not significantly bother me and I can overlook them, on New Year's Eve, she went out with a man whom I do not know, got inebriated, went to a bar, celebrated the holiday with him, and even posted about him on her social media story, despite never having posted about me. This occurred after I explicitly communicated several times that being out with him would be profoundly disrespectful to me. She did it anyway, leading to our breakup, yet we continued to communicate. After addressing her deceit regarding that night while she was on vacation, I kindly requested that she remove this man from her contacts and social media, but she was unable to do so, which I found exceptionally disrespectful. Clearly, she has lied extensively and disrespected me in significant ways, yet I genuinely believe she loves me and did not intend to harm me. I want to trust that the reasons for her actions stem from the lack of a label on our relationship. This post may not portray her positively, and many may suggest I stay broken up, but I believe it is essential to consider the unique spark, connection, and bond we share. She has conveyed that her thoughtless actions resulted from not realizing their true impact on me, and that she now acknowledges them as disrespectful. Furthermore, she claims she never envisioned a future with me because she doubts my commitment to formalizing our relationship in the near future, which is why I feel that perhaps she would not have acted this way if we had an established label. I am uncertain whether I should remain broken up or attempt to give our relationship a chance by making it official. I recognize that a true lifelong partner would not require a label to act appropriately. I simply do not want to look back with regret and realize that I let the love of my life slip away. Any advice would be appreciated. Summary: my girlfriend slept with a guy when our relationship was becoming serious, and although I believed we were exclusive, she did not. She continually lied about the encounter for months until she finally confessed. It bothers me that she had a sexual encounter, but it pains me more that she lied for 4 months after I suspected otherwise. Despite our special bond, I'm unsure whether to officially label our relationship or to let go and move on. Story 4. I, 20F, don't know if my ex-best friend, 20M, is dropping me a hint or if I'm just being delusional. 2 years ago, I, 20 female, experienced a significant falling out with my best friend, 20 male, at that time. We had been friends for 7 years, but we argued over something truly trivial and petty, a difference in opinions, basically. He wanted to delve into the problem by discussing it further, but I believed compromising was impossible and felt we should just agree to disagree instead of wasting time arguing over something so trivial. I also struggle with an extremely avoidant attachment style and dislike confrontations. I told him to let it go but expressed it in a rather blunt manner, essentially saying, "I don't care." He understandably became upset, and we ended up giving each other the cold shoulder for a couple of days. We began communicating again a few days later, but our friendship was still quite fragile when he casually mentioned that after our argument, he had a lengthy conversation with someone, let's refer to this person as A, who had significantly hurt me in the past, but with whom he remains friends. My former best friend is aware of how deeply it hurt me, and I am unsure if he mentioned it intentionally or if it was an accidental disclosure. Regardless, it felt like a betrayal. I was okay with them talking occasionally, but I couldn't believe that he would immediately turn to a right after our fight, knowing my sensitive history with that person. He had crossed a line that I didn't think I could come back from, and he was upset that I tended to become dismissive and rude during our conflicts. He wasn't wrong. I struggle to express my feelings due to my upbringing, and I instantly enter a fight or flight response when I feel threatened or abandoned. Ultimately, I told him that I couldn't maintain our friendship any longer because I would visualize him running back to A whenever things became difficult between us. He wanted me to stay, but I recognized that I would merely harbor resentment if I did. I jokingly suggested that the only way for me to stay would be if he ended his friendship with A, but I never truly expected that to happen because I knew it was selfish and that he would likely resent me for it if he followed through. A small part of me may have wanted him to do it, merely to prove that he wanted me to stay badly enough, but he didn't, and I completely understood. In the heat of the moment, I said several regrettable things, including that our friendship was doomed from the start the moment he chose to remain friends with A despite knowing how much they had hurt me, implying it was doomed from the beginning. I don't think I meant most of it, nor did I genuinely want to leave, but I suppose my personal issues got the best of me. After the separation, I blocked him on Instagram because he kept appearing whenever I wished to direct message or tag anyone, and it felt like a stabbing pain each time. He retaliated by blocking me on every other platform. A few months later, we briefly reconnected to discuss another event, during which he expressed that he thought I hated him for blocking him on Instagram, and I assured him that I did not. Once the event concluded, I used a silly excuse to request that he not block me again, to which he agreed. A few months after that, I discovered that he had blocked me again on all platforms. I contacted a mutual friend to inquire why, and the friend, who he had apparently confided in, stated it was because he looked at some old messages but couldn't provide further details. I am aware that I said some pretty hurtful things back then, so I honestly cannot hold it against him. His bio on the platform where we used to communicate has remained unchanged for about a year now, a seemingly innocuous line I hadn't thought to look up until today. It reads, "We had maybe $3 saved," from a Laufey song, and I know he doesn't typically listen to her music, or at least he never used to. I will refrain from extensive analysis, but it is a song that could certainly pertain to us, especially the line, "Ooh, then you left in May," which aligns perfectly with when our split occurred. I am confident he didn't experience any other significant events in May, and I know he hadn't been involved with anyone in our mutual circle that would have led to any other events around that time. This isn't his usual genre of music, and he had never been the type to include lyrics in his bio. He knows I can view his profile, even while blocked, and I understand him well enough to see that dropping a hint like that fits his character entirely. It feels as though he is sending me a message asking for an opportunity for reconciliation, but at the same time, I might just be overanalyzing because I am still blocked. At this point, I'm not even sure if I have genuinely forgiven him for what occurred 2 years ago or what the future of our friendship could look like, even if we manage to mend things. However, I miss him, and I do not think anyone else has ever understood me like he did. I would reach out to him again, but I am uncertain if that is welcome since he still has me blocked. Perhaps he truly despises me now, and I am simply overthinking the meaning behind the song. I am unsure. Maybe I am just being irrational, but the mixed signals are driving me insane. What should I do in this situation? Any advice would be appreciated.